two parties, the Congress and the DMK, have approached this matter as though they have no responsibility for it. Fact is, they simply did not care. To Pandit Nehru, this was a little island. It had no importance. He saw it as a nuisance. Why are people bringing it up again and again in Parliament? Whether it was Pandit Nehru or whether it was Indira Gandhi, this very dismissive attitude, this little rock, this small island of no importance, this was the historic Congress attitude towards Katchatheevu. Every political party in Tamil Nadu has taken a position on this. And here, one of the reasons why we are debating it is in looking at these two issues, the Katchatheevu issue and the fishermen issue. Two parties, the Congress and the DMK, have approached this matter as though they have no responsibility for it. As though the situation is for central government, today's central government, for them to resolve. There is no history to this. This has just happened. They are the people who are taking up the cause. That is the way they would like to present. So the purpose of the press conference today, why I am talking to all of you, is we believe that the public has a right to know. The public has a right to know how did this situation come about. How was Katchatheevu, how was the 1974 agreement reached? How was Katchatheevu given away? How was the fishing issue handled? Because please understand, the fishing issue actually emanated from a 1976 agreement. So there are two agreements we are talking about. So because these have been live issues, because they have been discussed earlier also in Parliament, two documents were sought from us as an RTI request. And these were provided. One was a document about Ministry of External Affairs, summary background note for the meeting of the Informal Consultative Committee in 1968 on this issue. And the second was a record of discussion of a meeting between the then Foreign Secretary and the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Honorable Kalaignar Karunanidhi, in June 1974. Now, the point today is we know there are two agreements. We know there's a 1974 agreement. We know there is a 1970. We know who did this. How has the situation arisen? What we do not know is who hid this. Who has been party to it? What has been concealed from the public? And we believe it is the right of the public today to know how did this situation come about. Now, how did this happen? Has many aspects to it. One, and perhaps to me the most basic, I would say recurring one, is actually the indifference shown by the central government, by the prime ministers of the day then, about the territory of India. That fact is, they simply did not care. And to demonstrate that, I think if one looks at, again, this is there in one of the documents of the released under RTI. This is an observation by the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru in May of 1961. He writes, I attach no importance at all to this little island, and I would have no hesitation in giving up our claim to it. I do not like matters like this pending indefinitely and being raised again and again in Parliament. So, to Pandit Nehru, this was a little island. It had no importance. He saw it as a nuisance. Why are people bringing it up again and again in Parliament? So, for him, the sooner you give it away, the better. Now, you can say, okay, this was Pandit Nehru's view. Now, I want to read to you. Actually, this was not just Pandit Nehru's view. This view continued on to Indira Gandhi ji as well. So, it's very interesting. If one goes through the records of Parliament, we are now looking, I'm fast forwarding it to the time when Katchatheevu agreement is done. There is a member of Parliament called G. Vishwanathan from Tamil Nadu. And he says, this is I'm quoting from Parliament records. We are worried about Diego Garcia, thousands of miles away from Indian territory. But we are not worried about this small island. When we speak of it, the Prime Minister, he is talking about Indira Gandhi ji, the Prime Minister is said to have remarked in the AICC meeting that this is a little rock. I am reminded of those days when Pandit Nehru called about our northern boundary as a place where not a blade of grass grew. I would like to remind the Prime Minister that after this historic statement by Prime Minister Nehru, Pandit Nehru never regained the confidence of the country. This is going to happen to the Prime Minister when she says this is only a little rock and that there is nothing to worry about the territories of our country. So, as you can see, this is not just one Prime Minister, whether it was Pandit Nehru or whether it was Indira Gandhi. This very dismissive attitude, this little rock, this small island of no importance, this was the historic Congress attitude towards Katchatheevu. Now, again, please don't think it's an individual view. This was actually, in a way, had seeped into the party thinking. So, I will give you another example of it. Same time, there was a very well-known Congress leader. All of you are familiar with his name. He was from Delhi, called HKL Bhagat. Now, HKL Bhagat is reacting in the same Katchatheevu debate. So, he says, and I'm quoting from the parliamentary record, he says, my honorable friend from the DMK was just now talking about Katchatheevu, the island. It appears to me that the DMK thinks that probably they can desperately cling to this issue and survive in Tamil Nadu. The Jansangh at one time thought they could survive by clinging on to Kutch, but they failed. The DMK is also bound to fail because people of India and the people of Tamil Nadu are mature enough to see that it is in the interest of India, a big and great country, to keep her neighbors, particularly her small neighbors, satisfied. So, please appreciate today how strong, how deep, how pervasive this thinking was. For them sitting in Delhi, this island, this small rock, this island of no importance, this did not matter. It was an inconvenience to be given away so that they, in their minds, could actually not just have good relations with a neighbor. They found it irritating. It was coming up in Parliament. For them, it was a headache. So they saw the territory of India. And when someone says Jansangh also had the same view, yes, there were parties for whom every millimeter of Indian territory mattered. Apparently, there were parties to whom even large tracts of Indian territory, as we saw on Aksai Chin, did not matter.